No, nothing. ඔගලන්ගේ පැත්තේ decorations තියනවද? Neighborhood එකේ. I mean, you may be Buddhist or not, but I mean, there are decorations නේ පාරේ එහෙම හැමතැනම. දැන් අපි නම් හිතන් ඉන්නේ, I mean, I could not go to Dansal or anything today because of the class. So ඔයගලන්ටත් එහෙම වෙන්නේ නැති. එහෙම යන්න කවුරු plan කරන් හිටියා නම්, but after the class I'm planning to go some like what do you call it? Vesak sightseeing. මොකද මෙහි මාර්ගදර වෙසක් decorations තියෙනවා in Matara. These days I'm in Matara. So also apparently the Rajya Vesak කලාපේ තියෙන්නේ මෙහෙ. So there's a lot of decorations and all the streets are like all lit and like all these light bulbs and lanterns and all that. It's so beautiful. What about your areas? Nanda Mukut? Nothing?
Tisha,
Can you all
next to our house, we can go out even, Tisha. Our lane is fully crowded.
hear? Yes, yes, yes. So roads must be very crowded. දැන් අපි අදත් වෙසක් බලන්න යනකොට අපි vehicle එක නැතුව පයින් යන්න හිතන් ඉන්නේ. Because vehicle එක නේ යන්න බෑ මේ වෙලාවේ. නේද?
It's like a place where anyone don't come during normal days. And today for Vesak, there's a lot of people, like vehicles.
Yeah. Are there dancers in your area?
Yes, there's a Kotu dancer here next in the
Oh,
next
Kotu
lane.
dancer. That's great. කොතු dancer මම දැක්කේ නැහැ මෙහෙ. බත් dancer නම් මම දැක්කා. But කොතු dancer sounds interesting. අනිත් අය කොහමද? No decorations, no dancer, nothing? Tinura, Savinu, Risindi, Metmi, Evindi. Where do you guys live? Decorations at your home. Nice. Neighborhood එකේ ඇති නේද dancer ආරෙමේ? Anyways, අපි හිතන් ඉන්නේ රැට පොඩි walk එකක් දාන්න. I think that would be very nice. So after the class maybe. Anyways, the class is recording, no? Where did we stop last day? Ice cream dancer. Oh, nice. You decorated your house. We actually Kalampu ගෙදර නම් අපිට decorate කරන්න බැරි වුණා වැඩි. I don't know if my sister is in the decorations. I'm not there. Today I'm in Mathur, but in the Mathur house we have done a little bit of decorations, just 2 lanterns, but something's better than nothing. And I think not just Vesak, any festivity like you know, it could be Christmas, it could be Thai Pongal, Deepavali. I'm Buddhist, so I'm not exactly sure which festivities are, I mean, like which days other religions celebrate, but I know for sure Deepavali and all Tamil celebrate, and then there's the Christmas, and then there's Ramazan and all those. So ඒ වගේ celebrations වලට maybe it's your own religion, maybe some other religion, but I think actively involving in these celebrations are quite nice. මොකද ඊයේ student කෙනෙක් එක්ක මම කතා කර කර ඉද්දී what we were discussing was that සමහර වෙලාවට දැන් පොඩි කාලා හිතන්න, okay, for an example වෙසක්, right? වෙසක් වලට you guys make lanterns and all that නේ. So පොඩි කාලේ දැන් මට මතකයි මායි නංගිලා එහෙම lanterns හදනවා. ඊට පස්සේ තාත්තියෝ එල්ලනවා එහෙමම. So those memories really stay with us for the rest of our lives. And then we pass it on to the next generation. So these festivities, they are a very good time to make memories. So don't just nikang, you know, don't just sit away. Do take part. And even like Christmas, where all these decorations are there, and Ramazan, there are festivities, right? And Deepavali, do you all celebrate Deepavali or Thai Pongal in a grander way, Ashita?
Thai Pongal, Tisha.
Thai Pongal. Thai Pongal is the like the Tamil New Year sort of, right?
No, we celebrate New Year on the April
The
6th,
usual one,
like,
ne?
yeah.
Right, right,
But
right.
Thai Pongal we celebrate it like grandly because it is the first festival that comes after the New Year, right, Tisha, for
Ah,
us.
yeah. But Deepavali also you celebrate pretty
Yeah.
well. Yeah. So, do we have any Islamic students? I want to know the significance of Hajj because we just passed Hajj. But anyways, I think I'll ask from different plans. Anyways, yeah. So all these festivities are really exciting. Not just Vesak, just like Vesak, all these other festivities. So, anyways, yeah, just do take part in this because may kala tamay ogala memories hadaganna kale. Because maybe at a later point in life, your life will get so busy you will not have time to do all these decorations and then maybe like hanging lanterns with your family and maybe walking in the streets during festivities. May have at a later point in life you may not have time. So when you do have time, just yeah, actively take part and those memories will stay with you for the rest of your life for sure. Okay, with that message, we'll start the class. මම හිතුවා අද චුට්ටක් ළමයිටයක් වැඩි වෙයි කියලා. මේ දැන් ඉන්නවට වඩා, but it's okay because I actually wanted to announce the best students of the month. So, අනිතර අපි කියමු වෙනම. Okay. I will. So we only chose three students. Miss Divya and I together did it. අපි criteria කීපයක් බැලුවා. I'm just letting you guys know just to be transparent so that you know why these students were selected and these students were not. So when we were selecting students, මෙතන කිසිම like you know බෙදීමක් නෙවෙයි, just as an encouragement. එතකොට හොඳ කියන්නේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් actively interact කරන actively perform කරන අයට recognition එකක් දෙන්න ඕනේ. And I think that will also motivate the others, right? So the criteria that we checked were එකක් attendance. The other thing that we checked was quiz results. Quiz එකේ results. ඔගන්ට තාම හම්බෙලා නැතුව ඇති මං හිතන්නේ because Miss Divya said that she didn't send you all yet. But I have the results with me. And the other thing that I checked was interaction during the class, as in like proper interaction. ඒ කියන්නේ meaningful විදියට class එක interact වෙන එක. Questions answer කරන එක and ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් මම අහනවානේ like lesson එකේ questions අහනවා, lesson එකට අදාළ තව questions අහනවා, then how you answer, how you react, how you respond and maybe different feedback coming from you. So අන්න ඒ criteria ටික තමයි අපි බැලුවේ, right? So we did it as fair as we can. So we selected three. So first is first, second, third කියලාම නෙවෙයි අපි ඉන්නේ just top three මත නෙවෙයි just best three of the month just May April එහෙම නෑ. ඒතර June වලට you can perform and you can of course get recognized like that. So we have Tinura. So one thing I noticed was perfect attendance and also very good interaction during the class. In the sense, very meaningful interaction because I really, you know, he asked a lot of follow-up questions and then like past paper questions ekka relate kara and then like very practical questions you asked. So those and also quiz results were pretty good. So Tinura, yes, good job, well done. And then we have Metna. Metna is not present in the class today, but Metna has the highest quiz results from the recent quiz. එතකොට quizzes විතරක් නෙවෙයි අපි බැලුවේ ඔක්කොම criteria එක බලද්දී she's also there. So Tinura, Metna, and then do we have Miheli is there? Yes. So Miheli is the other one. Again, perfect attendance and then good quiz results and also very good interaction, right? And also I have to mention quiz results thing. Okay, so overall, now this is overall. Overall, there's Tinura, Metna, and Miheli. If you just take the quiz results, I will tell you the best quiz results. Mm, best quiz results, Metna got the top results, and then she got a perfect score. Again, I think we had 15 questions, so she got 15 out of 15. And then second highest is Rashmika. And third highest, then we have Ashwita and Metmi, right? So a quiz results welling. Quiz results welling, we have highest Metna, then second Rashmika, then third as a tie, Metmi and Ashwita. So I will post everything in the group. So good job, Lamaya. Good job. I'm quite happy with your attendance in May. Pretty good. And also quiz results වල පොඩ්ඩක් සමහර ඒවා මට හිතෙනවා ඔයගලන් පාඩම් කළ මදි කියලා. But overall I would say shape. Okay. හැබැයි මට හිතෙන්නේ මීට වඩා ගොඩක් පාඩම් කරන්න ඕනේ quiz results වලට නම්. Sorry, quiz එකට නම්. මොකද I very specifically told you I'm only asking from first two lessons, living tissues and photosynthesis. So when I so specifically told you that I will be asking from those two lessons only, you could have studied better. While most answers were good, I don't want to discourage you. ඔයගලගේ answers ඇත්තටම හොඳයි. හැබැයි සමහර answers නම් තිබ්බ ටිකක් silly. Silly කියන්නේ පාඩම් කරලා නැහැ. සමහර answers තිබ්බා definitely Google search කරලා දාපු answers, right? Because I have been with students like you for quite some time and I have been interacting very closely with students. මොකද online class එකේ අපිට චූටි distance barrier එකක් තිබ්බා. Still I told you, right? I have a very good sense of who you are and what you're doing. And also in like physical classes also, I'm very close to my students. So I can read you in certain ways that you may not realize. So I did see that some answers were directly Google searched. But ඒව හරිනම් මම එක ලකුණු දුන්නා. මොකද I mean, I can't just say, oh, Google search කරා so කියලා එහෙම කපන්න බෑනේ. But if you Google search, I can instantly know that. Okay. And සමහර answers පොඩ්ඩක් silly answers තිබ්බා. සමහර answers නම් හරිම lazy පාඩම් කළා මදි. But overall, it's okay. Okay. So මම ඔයගලන්ට individually වෙනම results quiz results share කරන්න. We are going to have our next quiz on 13th of June. ඒක lesson එක අපිට එන්නේ third lesson, the chemistry lesson, mixtures. So the entire quiz is based on just mixtures. I think so. Yeah, mixtures වලින් විතරයි මුළු quiz එකම එන්නේ. I think there's 20 questions, 15 or 20 questions there. මට දැන් check කරන්න බෑ because we are still revising the questions. I think we are done with like 10 or so. කොහොමත් අපි මං හිතන්නේ 15 to 20 questions දාන්න. So prepare well for that. But others, good job. Yeah, so let's see how it goes next month. Okay. Anita, please interact. Interact කියලා කියන්නේ මම නිකන් මේ බොරුවට නිකන් එහෙම නෙවෙයි. Just be more active in the class. When you're more active in the class, let me tell you this also before we get on with the lesson. ඔයා actively class එකේ ඉන්නකොට actively lesson එක අහන් ඉන්නකොට ඔයාට naturally ප්‍රශ්න එනවා. මොකද I mean, we are all human beings, right? So naturally ප්‍රශ්න එනකොට තමයි ඔයගොල්ලන් ප්‍රශ්න අහන්නේ. And also ඔයගොල්ලන් actively අහන් ඉන්නකොට තමයි ඔයගලන්ට notice වෙන්නේ මේක මට තේරුන්නේ නැහැ. මට මේක තේරුණා but මේක තේරුන්නේ නැහැ. තේරුන්නේ නැති එක මම මිස්ගෙන් අහන්න ඕනේ. So ඔයගොල්ලන් actively හිටියොත් විතරයි මේ වගේ concerns ඔයගලන්ට එන්නේ. So when I say actively interact, I don't mean like meaninglessly නිකන් මේ මොකද්ද interaction score එක වැඩි කරගන්න just asking random questions නෙමෙයි මම mean කරන්නේ. I mean like relevant, curious and meaningful questions, right? So that is very very important. එතකොට මොකද මම ඒක මේ ඒ score එක දෙද්දි මම mainlyම තේරුම් ගත්ත දෙයක් තමයි කියන්නේ හොඳ කියන්නේ interaction පැත්තෙන් interaction කියන criteria එකේ මම ඔගලඟ ඔගන්ට ස්කෝ එකක් දෙනකොට සිලෙක්ට් කරනකොට මම හිතුවේ මට තේරෙනවා ප්‍රශ්න අහනකොට මෙයා මේක ඇත්තටම අහන් ඉඳලා රයිට් මෙයා මේක ඇත්තටම අහන් ඉඳලා මේක ඇක්ටිව්ලි ක්ලාස් එකේ ඉන්නවා කියන එක මට තේරෙනවා එතකොට ඕකේ සෝ එතකොට මේ දවස් පහුගිය දවස් හත අද ක්ලාස් එක මම කන්සිඩර් කරන්නේ නැහැ මොකද අද පොඩ්ඩක් එක්සෙප්ෂන් එකක් ඉඳලා but 2nd 9th 16th and 23rd කියන classes අතර තමයි මම කන්සිඩර් කරේ so yes so be actively present in the class when you are actively present and listening only you will get questions and you will notice what you understand what you don't understand then only you will ask from me right so yes just being you know inactive and dead during the class doesn't really do anything good for you or good for me okay so mama may put a notice kara like extremely inactive for some of you so I have a doubt whether you're actually listening in the class so yeah so with that being said let's get on with the lesson okay but overall everything is good today last week we finished digestion no ඔගන්ට මම මෙච්චරලා කියපු ඔක්කොම clearද give me a thumbs up okay all right so hari digestion we finished all right great let's get on with respiration let me get the note to the whiteboard all right process of respiration by the way last week in digestive system I asked you all to write a short note on I asked you all to write a short note on the diseases, right? Did you all read through it and write a short note? Leave with a short note. Give me a thumbs up if you wrote. Right. Met me. Okay, no problem. So you only received the recording today, ne? So for you, met me, you won't really face a problem today since we are starting respiration. But since you got the recording, we weekend එක වගේ බලලා ඉවර කරන්න try එකක් දෙන්න. And diagrams දැනගන්න ඕනේ. Yes. So in the systems, you need to know these diagrams. You won't be asked to draw the diagrams. තමයි. මේවා draw කරන්නේ නැහැ art class නෙවෙයිනේ. But diagram එක දීලා recognize කරන්න එන්න පුළුවන්, different parts identify කරන්න එන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේ දේවල් අහන්න පුළුවන්. So you need to have a very good idea about the visual aspect as well. Anyways, so I'm giving you a homework. I will give you the deadline also. All of these I will seriously consider by 3rd of June. Right, 3rd June. දවස් ඉවර වෙන කලින් මට digestive system short note හැමෝම එවලා තියන්න. Okay. 3rd June midnight is the deadline. Huh? This is the deadline. What's the homework? Digestive system diseases short. Please take this seriously, okay? මට කාගේ හරි short notes by 3rd June midnight ආවේ නැත්නම් I will take a call to your parents and see what you guys were doing. Okay? මේක මම group එකේ දාන්නම්. Very very important. Okay. එතකොට when you're sending the short note, it's very simple. You just make the short note, photos tag ගාලා එවන්න. But just make ඔයගලගේ photos නිකන් 100% නිකන් අර මොනවාද perfectly එහෙම වෙන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. But මට read කරගන්න පුළුවන් විදිහට තිබ්බනම් ඇති. photos ගාලා එවන්න. ඔයගලට පුළුවන් නම් විතරක් scan කරලා එවුවත් කමක් නැහැ. cam scan හරි මොන හරි. But if that is too much, just you can click some photos and send. That's more than enough. Just make sure that your words are readable. That's the only criteria. Okay. So 3rd June midnight is the deadline. Keep that in mind. Okay. Now respiration, right? So in human respiration, කැමති තැනක short note එක කරන්න writing book මෙහෙමයි. You can take like a CR page options දෙකක් තියෙනවා. CR කොලයක් අරගෙන short note එක හදලා ඒක මේ note එකට attach කරගන්න පුළුවන්. මොකද digestion, respiration, circulation, excretion, coordination මේ හතරම coordination වල diseases නෑ අනිත් ඒවා ඔක්කොගම diseases තියෙනවා. ඒතර හැම එකනම CR එකක තියලා අන්තිම කියන්නේ මේ note එකේම අන්තිමට stapler කරගන්න diseases ටික. So that is one option. එතකොට කොහෙවත් කොළ නැති වෙන්නේ නැහැ නිකන් random තැන්වල කොළ තියලා දාලාම උගන්ට උක නැති වෙනවා. exam එක ලඟ වුණාම you don't have the short note to revise. එහෙම වෙන්න බෑ. So separate paper එක කරනවා නම් make sure that you attach the paper to the note. Option number 1. Then option number 2 is you can make the short note in the writing book. Right? එතන note එක වෙනම තියෙනවා. short note එක writing book එකේ තියෙනවා. ඒතර writing book එක නැති කරගන්න නැතුව ඉන්නේ. Anyways writing book එකේනේ අපි ඔක්කොම notes තිබ්බේ. So that's option number 2. So whatever option you choose is totally up to you. I just need to see your short note on. Just make sure you make the short note somewhere and attach it or keep it in a way that you don't lose it. Okay, that's my main concern. So ඒක නැති කරගන්න නැතුව තියාගන්නවා නම් කොහොම කරත් කමක් නැහැ. හරි. What are the 3 main stages in human respiration? Gas exchange between external environment and lungs. ඒ කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? දැන් external environment is the atmosphere. Lungs is the lungs, right? Lungs වල තමයි දැන් මේ තියෙන diagram එකේ these are lungs, right? So එතකොට step number 1, there will be a gas exchange between the atmosphere and our lungs. That is step number 1. Right? We will be talking about all of these separately. Second one is gas exchange in alveoli. Alveoli කියන්නේ lungs වල තියෙනවා චූටි පොඩි balloons වගේ බෝල ගොඩක්. අන්න එතනත් වෙනවා පොඩි gas exchange එකක්. We will again talk about this very soon, but just know that it is a second stage. Third stage is cellular respiration. Cellular respiration is a chemical reaction happening which produces energy. මේ තුන තමයි අපේ human respiration වල තියෙන stages තුන. And also respiratory system is pretty short. අපිට ඉක්මනට කරන්න පුළුවන්. Okay? All right. So, if you look at the system, we have the nasal cavity. Then ඔගාන මතකයිනේ මෙතන අපේ mouth එක තියෙන buccal cavity you remember already, right? That is from the digestive system. This is a nasal cavity. This is respiratory system. And then comes pharynx. Pharynx we very well know because in digestive system we learned about it. Pharynx is the area common to both the digestive system and the respiratory system. Right? Do you all remember about pharynx? Others? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, teacher.
Right. Pharynx වල ඔයාලට මතකයිද? So pharynx is the area common to digestive and respiratory systems. So when we are swallowing food, there is a possibility that the food could enter the respiratory system instead of the digestive system. In order to prevent that, what do we have in the pharynx? Others? Epiglottis. Yes, correct. Epiglottis එක තියෙනවා. එතකොට normally epiglottis එක open, respiratory system එක open කරලා තියෙන්නේ. අපි food swallow කරන වෙලාවට විතරයි. Only when we are swallowing food, since there is a chance that the food could enter the respiratory system, thaggal epiglottis එක respiratory system එක close කරනවා. So that food will go straight to the digestive system. This happens only when swallowing. Can ගිලින වෙලාවට විතරයි. Anyways, yes, that is a pharynx. එතනින් digestive system එකත් එක්ක තියෙන relationship එක ඉවරයි. මෙතන තමයි common area එක. ඊට පස්සේ දැන් අපි respiratory system එක තමයි කතා කරන්නේ. This is the larynx. Larynx is the next part. After pharynx, we have the larynx, right? Larynx කියන area එකේ තමයි ළමයි we have our vocal cords. So when we are talking, what happens is when we are breathing out, අපි breathe out කරන air ටික vocal cords වල ගිහලා වදිනවා. වැදුනාම තමයි sound එක generate වෙන්නේ. ඒ sound එක ලස්සනට manipulate වෙන අපේ කටේ. Yes, it's also called the voice box. So in our mouth, what happens is when we are pronouncing different sounds like m or b or p or k, අපි tongue එක තියෙන තැන ඊට පස්සේ lips move වෙන විදිය ඒ තැන් වලින් තමයි sound එක manipulate වෙන්නේ. Right? So I think this is very good for general knowledge also. We can never talk while we are breathing in. හුස්ම ගන්න ගමන් කතා කරන්න බෑ. කාටද පුළුවන්ද හුස්ම ගන්න ගමන් කතා කරන්න? No, right? You cannot talk while you're breathing in. You can always talk while you're breathing out. So when you're breathing out, the air that you're breathing out strikes on the vocal cords in the larynx. When the breathed out air strikes on the vocal cords, sound will be generated. A sound එක කටෙන් අපි ලස්සනට හැදුවේ නැත්නම් අපිට ලස්සනට මේව කතා කරන්න බෑ. නිකන් ගෙනියන් ඔය sound එක තමයි එන්නේ. But අපිට ඕන pronunciation වලට අපි හදා ගන්නවා කටේදී. So if we are saying m, lips move වෙන එක විදියකට. b නම් තව විදියකට. k නම් තව විදියකට. p නම් තව විදියකට. Right? So like ඒ වගේ f or whatever. Teeth, tongue, lips, facial muscles එක එක විදිහට move කරකට අපි sound එක manipulate කරනවා to talk nicely and to pronounce words nicely. That is how sound is generated. ඒක in detail නෑ අපේ syllabus එකේ, but I think that is something that you guys should know because that's general knowledge නේ කොහොමද අපි කතා කරන්න කියන එක, right? But yeah, larynx is the next place. This is where vocal cords are. මෙතන තමයි Adam's apple එක තියෙන්නේ. After adolescence or puberty in boys, the Adam's apple becomes more prominent, right? අපි grade 10 වල ඉගෙන ගත්තේ. In reproduction, the Adam's apple area, it becomes more prominent, right? And that is prominent with tamai boys are getting a voice like a deep in, okay, after puberty. So that is also the larynx area. Larynx වලට පස්සේ මෙන්න මෙහෙම කැලලක් තියෙනවා. This is trachea. මේ trachea වල මේ පොඩි can you see these little මෙහෙම lines තියෙන්නේ. මේ ඇයිලා bones. Trachea එක වටේට bone structure එකක් තියෙනවා. Right? So එතකොට this is the trachea part. මේ තියෙන trachea එක. Trachea එකෙන් පස්සේ අපි එනවා ඔන්න දැන් trachea එකෙන් මෙන්න මෙහෙම lung එකට යන එක තමයි bronchus කියලා කියන්නේ. Bronchus is the main branch. Bronchus is the main branch. Bronchus එකෙන් පොඩි branches break වෙලා මෙහෙම යනවා. These are called bronchioles. Bronchus කියන්නේ singular word එක. මගේ plural එක bronchi. Plural එක, if you want you can write on your note. I hope everybody has the note by now. Nothing, I think no point no staying in the class because note එක මේ වෙදිත් නැත්නම් that's a huge problem. Anyways, yes. So trachea, එකෙන් එනවා lung එකට කෑල්ල, that is bronchus. ඒකේ plural එක bronchi. Bronchus එකේ එන පොඩි sub branches, we call them bronchioles. Right? So මොනවාද අපි ඉගෙන ගත්ත terms then? We learned about the nasal cavity, buccal cavity. Anyways, we knew ne. Buccal cavity can mouth ekane. Pharynx we know, larynx we learned, trachea we learned, bronchus or bronchi we learned, bronchioles we learned. Is that clear to all of you? Is that clear to all of you, Lamai? Others? Please excuse me for a second. All right. හරි ඊළඟට දැන් මේ තව parts ටිකක් තියෙනවානේ. So we have something called sternum. Then we have something called ribs and then diaphragm. Sternum කියලා කියන්නේ ළමයි. If you are a little chubby, you may not be able to feel it, right? දැන් මට එහෙම පොඩ්ඩක් අමාරුයි දැන් මෙන්න මේ මැද වගේ there's a bone, right? So I think of course it makes sense girls අට වඩා boys එක තමයි යෝක can දැනෙන්නේ, especially if you are a little thin, you may feel it. So lungs දෙක මැද තියෙන bone එක තමයි sternum කියලා කියන්නේ. Okay, lungs දෙක මැද තියෙන bone එක sternum. Then sternum එක මැද තියෙනවා, then lungs දෙක cover කරන we have ribs. Again, girls වගේ because of the mammary glands you can't really feel the ribs, but maybe පිටිපස්සෙන් වගේ පිටිපස්සේ අහුවෙන්නේ නැහැනේ. But boys වගේ you may be able to Lamai, can you all hear me? Can you all give me a thumbs up? Okay, I'm sorry, I had a connection issue.
Can can hear teacher.
Can hear, no? Okay. Let me share the whiteboard again. Record yeah, recording. No, okay. Let me share the whiteboard again. Koitana, what did you hear last from me? Did you hear about the part where I talked about the sternum?
Teacher. Yes. Teacher, I have a
Okay.
small doubt.
Yes, Ashita.
Teacher, like you gave a homework, right, to do like we should write a short note. There
Short
like
note, yes.
we have subtopics, right? So we should give short note for all the subtopics, or like in one paragraph we should like include all the points.
So, okay. So when you are making a short note, which is, I think that's a good question. When you're making a short note, I don't have any, what do you call it? Like, මෙහෙම වෙන්න ඕනේ කියලා මම කියන්නේ නැහැ. Because I know you all study in different ways. I want you to make the short note in the easiest way for you to study. Some people, some of you, some students prefer point wise. So then you can do point wise. So for an example, आप निकाल गा तो तेरे disease का disease, let's say gastritis, तिपाने gastritis. So gastritis का disease का लिवा. What the disease is kila just point taking very summary का. You can you know your now AI is very trending. You can use the support of AI to summarize. Then you if the symptoms තියෙනවා නම් note එක මේ book එකේ symptoms කියලා symptoms ටික ලිව්වා. මොනවා හරි causes තියෙනවා නම් causes ලිව්වා. Then මොනවා හරි prevent කරන්න දේවල් තියෙනවා නම් මේ textbook එකේ prevent කරන විදිය ලිව්වා. ඒ වගේ just point wise යන එක would be the most ideal one. But මට මතක එක batch එක ළමෙක් table එකක් විදියට හදලා තිබ්බා. Like මෙහෙම table එකයි disease එකේ නම gastritis, then symptoms, causes එහෙම කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ there was diarrhea, typhoid and all that නේ. So ඒවට හැමෙම දාලා තිබ්බා table එකක්. But textbook එකේ හැම එකටම symptoms උයි හැම එකෙම causes උයි හැම එකෙම preventive measures එහෙම නැහැ. සමහර ඒවාල causes තියෙනවා සමහර ඒවාල නැහැ. එහෙම තමයි තියෙන්නේ. So if you think table study for it, if you think point wise writing is easy for you, just go for it. Because you know how you study better than anyone else. මේ විදිහ ඔයගන්ට තේරෙන්න ඕනේ මට පාඩම් කරන්න මේ විදිහට කියලා. So however way is easier for you to study, just make it like that. Okay, then if there are any corrections in the short note, once you send it to me, I will give you feedback. Okay, Ashwita?
Yes, teacher. Thank you.
All right, great. Sternum එක අහුණා නේ. Then as I was saying sternum කියන්නේ yes Risindi. What is LCM? What is LCM, Risindi? Put in the chat box. Huh? Yeah, but that is not in the science class, no? Maths class, ne? LCM. Okay. Yeah, I will anyways be doing that. Okay. So sternum කියන්නේ lungs දෙක මැද තියෙන bone එක චුට්ටක් sturdy bone එකක්. Then lungs දෙක protect කරන එක වටේට ribs තියෙනවා. Right? When you were young and maybe like chubby na චුට්ටක් අහුවෙන්නේ නැහැ but like පොඩක් කෙට්ටුයි වගේ නම් ribs අහුවෙනවා. Right? So ribs are covering the lungs. Then we have diaphragm. Diaphragm, of course, we can't like if you touch it, you can't feel it because it's inside. But මෙම lungs දෙක යට මෙන්න මේ විදිහට muscle එකක් තියෙනවා. This is the diaphragm. ඔන්න හොතයි diaphragm එක තියෙන්නේ. So that is ribs, diaphragm and sternum. Right? Those parts are also quite important. Okay. So what are the main parts of the respiratory system? Nasal cavity, that is where we start. Then pharynx, then larynx, then trachea, bronchi, branches are bronchioles. At the end of bronchioles, when balloons වගේවා තියෙනවා, we'll talk about it later. Those are called alveoli. Up to that point, is it clear to all of you? Give me a thumbs up.
Dear teacher.
Okay. So, I just missed a question. I'm sorry, Mithmi. How are some people born without the ability to speak? Is it linked to the larynx? I mean, sometimes it could be a problem with the larynx because සමහර වෙලාවට සමහර babies ඉපදෙනවා with like sometimes the vocal cords may be missing and sometimes in a baby during a certain period the vocal cords are developing. සමහරක vocal cords had developed වෙන්නේ නැහැ. So when vocal cords are underdeveloped or sometimes the vocal cords may be missing or සමහර larynx එකේ තියෙන පුළුවන් එක abnormalities වගේ එහෙම ඒ වගේ වහින්ද කතා කරන්න බැරි වෙන්න පුළුවන්. That is one cause. Larynx එකේ issues in the විතරක්ම නෙවෙයි. That is one. Issues with the larynx is one of the reasons why some people are born without the ability to speak. So maybe, as I said, maybe the larynx is abnormal structurally, or maybe some vocal cords are missing, or maybe vocal cords are not developed properly. And sometimes there's a condition where vocal cords are paralyzed. It can vocal cords are වැඩ කරන්නේ, it can තියෙනවා but not active, paralyzed vocal cords. So ඒකත් issue එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. But හැම වෙලේම මේක හින්දා නෙවෙයි. සමහර වෙලාවට brain එක issues හින්දාත් කතා කරන්න බැරි වෙන්න පුළුවන්, right? Because you know brain එකෙන් හරියට signals යවන්න නැති වුනහම again කතා කරන්න බැරි වෙන්න පුළුවන්. And also another very important reason why some babies or some people cannot speak is when they cannot hear. ගොඩක් වෙලාවට ගොඩක් නෙවෙයි. This is how it happens. අපි කතා කරන්න ඉගෙන ගන්න when we hear it, right? When we hear it only we learn to talk. So that is very important. Hearing is very important for talking. So very rarely only hearing එක නැති කෙනෙක්ට කතා කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ ගොඩක් rarely. But ඉපදෙනකොටම hearing නැත්නම් ගොඩක් අයට ඒකට කතා කරන්නත් බෑ. Only just sounds will be released but cannot talk or pronounce properly. So speech development issues එන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේ තමයි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට වෙන්නේ, or there will be like other problems like muscles වල issue සමහර වෙලාවට වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඊට පස්සේ you know like maybe tongue, jaw, lips වල මොන හරි abnormalities ඉඳ කතා කරන්න අමාරු වෙන්න පුළුවන්. But අර තුනෙන් තමයි ගොඩක්ම මේ ඒ ability එක නැති වෙන්නේ. Okay? They take out a tissue and made vocal cords, really? That's pretty interesting. The show that you said that day, no? Good Doctor. That's quite interesting. Actually, I have not heard about that, but I will check. Tissues are again a vocal cords. That's quite interesting. I'll check on that. Okay. So up to that point, is
I
it
also have heard like from my friends, he has told for someone they have made like that.
really like vocal cords?
Yes.
Oh.
I even saw a doctor, like in Hema's, I saw a doctor who has done that operation.
Hmm. Right.
She is a doctor also in the hospital.
That's interesting. So that's something that I will definitely read after the class, because those kind of things are quite interesting. Okay. So, okay. Anyways, let's move on. What are the main functions of mucus and cilia in the nasal cavity? The nasal cavity ke lama mucus තියෙනවා. So let me show you a picture. I will directly Google search and show you. You can also Google search, but I know you will never do that. Yeah. Veins nang blood capillaries nang blood vessels nang සාමාන්‍ය replace කරනවා. That happens quite often. Yes. So I just put this picture on the whiteboard. මේ තියෙන nasal cavity එක wall එක. This is not a very clear image. මොකද තාම එක load උන්නේ නැහැ හරියට. But anyways, මේ wall එකේ බලන්න මේ තියෙන චූටි epithelial cells. You already know what epithelial cells are because we learned it in living tissues, right? So these are epithelial cells, right? මේ epithelial cells වල ළමයි තියෙනවා මේ චූටි hair-like structures. These are not nasal hairs, huh? Nasal hairs නෙමෙයි මේ පොඩි වෙනම hair-like structures. We call them cilia. Okay, we call them cilia. And in addition to that, we also have mucus. Mucus අපේ මේ epithelial cells වලින්ම secrete කරන mucus. Mucus වලට තමයි අපි general terms වලින් කියන්නේ snot කියලා, right? We call like snot or phlegm, right? අපි කියන්නේ හොටු, සෙම, එහෙම කියන්නේ mucus වලට, right? So we have cilia and mucus. Let's see why they are important, right? What are the main functions of mucus and cilia? Mucus. Bacteria, dust, and other waste in the inhaled air stick onto the mucus. This is very, very important, Lamai, because our lungs are very sensitive. The moment your lungs are infected by something, that person cannot live. Lungs වලින් තමයි breathing කරන්නේ. Breathing නෑ කියන්නේ your body stops functioning instantly. Right? ඒතර lungs එච්චර sensitive හින්දා it's very important that the lungs are protected. එතකොට ඒක අපි කරනවට වඩා අපේ body එකේ naturally mechanism එකක් තියෙනවා lungs protect කරන්න. One of it is mucus, right? So what happens is, since you know දන්නවනේ mucus sticky කියලා, right? So mucus is quite sticky. නහය කියන්නේ අපිට මේ outer නහය විතරක් නෙවෙයි තව චුට්ටක් පිටිපස්සට වෙනත් mucus තියෙනවා, right? So what happens is, when there's bacteria or dust or any other microorganism or any waste particles coming, obviously it will come into your nose because there's all this in the atmosphere and your nose is open to the atmosphere. So when they come into the nasal cavity, they will quickly stick onto the mucus because mucus is sticky, right? So they stick onto the mucus. ඊළඟට මොකද කරන්නේ? Cilia. Cilia is those hair-like structures. By the rhythmic movement of cilia, waste materials are sent out. Then nasal cavity එක චුට්ටක් පිටිපස්සට යනකම් තියෙනවනේ. Now all the dust and waste and bacteria and all of that will enter your nasal cavity. They will stick onto the mucus, right? Stick කරාට පස්සේ the mucus ටික lungs වලට යන්නත් පුළුවන්. What if the mucus goes down to the lungs? අරගෙන stick වුණා කියලා වැඩක් නැහැ. The bacteria, dust and all of that will enter the lungs. But cilia, what they will do is, they will move like this, just moving the mucus up and out of the nose. එතකොට mucus ගොඩ එකතු වුණාම අපිට sneeze වෙලා හරි මොන හරි විදිහකින් අපේ mucus ටික යනවා. Mucus ටික එළියට යනවා. Okay? So like something like, you know, let's say there's dust in your house. What do? You sweep, right? කොස්සා කරන් sweep කරනවා. You sweep in one direction so that all the dust or whatever it is will be swept to a certain direction, right? ඒ වගේ තමයි cilia. Cilia is like a broom sweeping the mucus upwards to be sent out. ගොඩක් වෙලාවට කටට සෙම වගේ එන්නේ මේ mucus එකතු වුණාම තමයි. Okay. So these waste materials are collected at pharynx and removed out with saliva. Okay. Then what are the mucus is produced in? That's a good question. මම එක වැඩි කියන්න ගියේ නෑ ඔයගලන්ට, but since you asked this question, මෙන්න මෙතන තියෙන cells ජාතිය goblet cells කියලා. මේක නැහැ syllabus එකේ, don't study, just for curiosity only. Goblet cells කියලා ජාතියක් තියෙනවා, මේගොල්ලන් තමයි mucus secrete කරන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ අර epithelial cells එක්කම තියෙනවා goblet cells කියලා ජාතියක්. So they actually secrete mucus. Okay? So ඒ ඇතුළේ තමයි mucus හැදෙන්නේ and then they will be secreted. Okay. Then what are the changes taking place to the inhaled air in the nasal cavity? Then nasal cavity ඇතුළේ the inhaled air will stay for some time. So there are certain changes happening during this time. Alveoli, I will come to that recently. Alveoli is the next section. I will come to alveoli in a bit. Then I will explain about it in greater detail. Okay. So first change is moisturizing or humidifying inhaled air. Make a honey important. Because, I mean, of course, there is water vapor in atmosphere ke water vapor තියෙනවා. හැබැයි ගොඩක් water vapor නැහැනේ. දැන් අපේ body එක ඇතුලේ water ගොඩක් තියෙනවානේ. But outside atmosphere ke water vapor තියෙනවා, but not as much as what is inside your body. So when dry air, comparatively dry air, enters your nasal cavity and goes through your like pharynx, larynx, trachea, whatever, dry air යනකොට ළමයි respiratory tract එකේ wall එක friction එකක් එනවා. Right? When anything is dry, it's difficult to move. But what will happen is, during, like when the air is in the nasal cavity, water vapor will be added to the air within the nasal cavity. So the air will be moisturized or humidified. Then moist air only will move through the respiratory tract. Moist air move when friction. Moist air can smoothly move through the pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, whatever. Okay, so it's easy to move. Then warming up inhaled air to body temperature. This is also important because generally, do you all know what is the normal body temperature of a human being?
I think 32.
Higher.
That is too high, or like it is higher than the temperature to
Higher
say.
than 32. Higher than 32. Uh,
Around 36 to 40.
Lower limit, yeah, 36, yeah, but 40 is too high. Evindi, okay.
I think 36.
Okay, 36. Then Metni said 37, Evindi said 37, Tinura said 97 Celsius. Budu amme. What do you think we are? 97 Celsius lang rattala indi gindar wage.
Like, I notice if we have that much of like a
Yeah, yeah.
Celsius.
කොහොමත් that level එකට අපේ body එක යන්නේ නැහැ.
I think it might be Fahrenheit. Like we mentioned Fahrenheit and degrees, not sure.
Yeah, Tinura, did you mean Fahrenheit? Because even Fahrenheit. But if you take in Celsius, generally, yeah, that's Fahrenheit. 97 ගත්තොත් 32, yeah. So you probably meant Fahrenheit. Okay. So anyway, Celsius වලින් ගත්තොත්, now normally room temperature is around, it could vary from 28 to 32. Right? සාමාන්‍ය ලංකාවේ මං කියන්නේ ලංකාවේ දැන් normal මම ඉන්න පැත්ත ගත්ත දැන් නුවරඑළිය වගේ පැත්ත ඊට room temperature එක අඩුයි. But generally ගත්තොත් we could say like 26, 25, 26 to until 32. If it's like an extremely sunny day, it could go up to like, now it's raining, but before the rainy season, it was very hot, right? So ekali 31, 32 වෙනකන් උනත් ගියා. I think 33 ගියා. And Colombo 34 වෙනකන් ගිහලා තිබ්බා, I think. So anyways, that's the room temperature. But inside our body, the temperature is higher. Generally, temperature ke යන්නේ 36.5 to 38. 36.5 degrees Celsius to 38 degrees Celsius. However, this could vary from person to person, age to age, gender. ඒ ඔක්කොමත් එක්ක මොන හරි ලෙඩ තියෙනවා නම් ඒවත් එක්ක පොඩ හාඩ මෑර වෙනස් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. but ලොකු change එකක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. 36, 37, 38 ওই range එකේ තමයි තියෙන්නේ. But of course, if you have like some condition or some illness, like let's say fever වගේ නම් වැඩි වෙන්න පුළුවන්. But නැත්තම් 36, 37, 38 is a normal range. Okay. Now, outside room temperature is අපි නිකන් හිතමු 28 to 30 කියලා. That is much cooler than the body temperature. නේද? එතකොට cool air අපේ body එකට directly ගිහිලා lungs වලට cool විදියට ගියොත් එහෙම lungs වල condition එකට affect වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Because lungs are familiar with a warmer temperature. Because lungs means inside the body. Lungs have a temperature of 36 to 38 degrees Celsius. That's pretty warm. So lung is not familiar with colder temperatures. But 28 to 30 වගේ cold temperature එකපාරට lungs වලට ගියොත් එimhe lungs will be affected. Our body is extremely sensitive, right? ඒක හින්දා කෙලින්ම lungs වලට cool air යවන්න නැතුව nasal cavity we are going to warm up the air, right? Then removal of foreign matter from inhaled air, that's what we talked about earlier. Mucus will trap and cilia will move it. So mucus and cilia තමයි මේ වැඩේ කරන්නේ. Mucus and cilia. Okay. All right. Then let's go to the next page. Okay. So we discussed this earlier. There are 3 stages, right? Gas exchange between external environment and lungs, stage number 1. Then this next step is alveoli and then cellular respiration. First, we'll talk about the first step. Gas exchange between external environment and lungs. Okay. Okay. මෙතනට අපි චුටි එක්ස්පෙරිමන්ට් එකක් නෙවෙයි පොඩි ඇක්ටිවිටි එකක් කරනවා right අපි බලනවා කොහොමද මේ lungs පිරෙන්නේ යාවලේ right so the thing is if we like intentionally breathe මම හිතලා හුස්ම ගත්තොත් කියලා ගත්තොත් එහෙම හරි මම ඒක හිතලා කරන්නේ හැබැයි හැම වෙලේම I don't do it intentionally and consciously right even when I'm just doing something else and focusing on something else my body is still doing the respiration part okay so how does this happen අපි පොඩි වැඩක් කරනවා මේකට. So this is we call this a bell jar. මේක නිකන් bell එකක් වගේ තියෙන මේ. නිකන් bell එකක shape එකක් තියෙන. This is called a bell jar. මේක lid එකක් fix කරලා තියෙන්නේ with this kind of a tube. මේ tube එකේ තියෙන මෙන්න මේකෙන් පොඩක් බට දෙක තුනක් connect කරලා අපිට හදා ගන්න පුළුවන්. මෙන්න මෙහෙම tube එකක් තියෙනවා. tube එකේ මේ ends දෙකට අපි balloons fix කරනවා. just blow කරන්නේ නැහැ නිකන් balloons දෙකක් fix කරනවා. මෙතන open තියන්න ඕනේ. මෙතන open නා. Here it's open. And then bell jar එකේ යටට මම නිකන් balloon membrane එකක්. balloon එකක්ම කපලා ඒ balloon membrane එක එහෙම වටේට fix කරලා මොකද rubber band එකකින් ගැට ගන්නවා. Right. So there's a balloon membrane. Okay. ඊළඟට මම මොකද කරන්නේ? මම මෙතනින් balloon membrane එක පල්ලෙහාට අදිනවා. bell jar එකත් එක්ක මේ යට තියෙන balloon membrane එක මම පල්ලෙහාට අදිනවා. අදිනකොට මට පේනවා මේ balloons දෙක automatically fill වෙනවා. These two balloons will get automatically inflated. I'm not doing anything else. මම මෙයාව පල්ලෙහාට මෙන්න මෙතන ඉන්න මේ balloon membrane එක මම පල්ලෙහාට ඇදලා අදිනවා විතරයි. That's all I'm doing. But these two balloons will get inflated. Right? This is exactly what happens in other lungs as well. We'll see how this happens. We'll see how this happens. ඔන්න බලන්න. ඒක කියන්න කලින් මම ඔයාලට පොඩි parts ටිකක් කියන්න. මෙන්න මේ දැන් මෙතන rib cage එක. So this is the sternum part. මේ තියෙන ribs දෙක මැද තියෙන sternum එක. This is the sternum. They have in the note it's not labeled but can you please label this? මේකට arrow එකක් දාලා you can label sternum. Then we have the rib cage, within ribs. Bones, ribs. දෙපැත්තම තියෙනවා. Okay. ඊළඟට මම කිව්වේ diaphragm එක. මේ තියෙන යට diaphragm එක. මේ තියෙන diaphragm. Oh my god. There's a diaphragm. Okay. Then there is another term called intercostal muscles. පැනක් හරි පැන්සක් කරගෙන මේ internal external කියන කපා ගන්න. It's not in our syllabus. This is a picture I took from the internet. That's why it has all these terms. But මේ ඕනේ නැහැ. Internal external කතන්දර ඕනේ නැහැ. මේ rib cage එකේ listen now rib cage එකේ between two ribs there are some muscles. මේ muscles තියෙනවා. These muscles only we call intercostal muscles. මේ තියෙන මේ rib cage එක between ribs we have intercostal muscles like that. So we learned sternum, diaphragm, ribs and intercostal muscles. Is that clear, Lama?
Yes, teacher.
Okay. ඔන්න බලන්න දැන් අපි තාම අපි activity එක හරියට explain කරේ නෑ. We are going to talk about it using this. Lungs are present in the thoracic cavity. Thoracic cavity is the upper part of the body, right? මේ rib cage එක මේ ඔක්කොම ටික මේ full එකට අපි කියනවා thoracic cavity. So lungs are inside. So ribs are actually there to protect the lungs, huh? So lungs are present in the thoracic cavity. Thoracic cavity is protected by the ribs. There are intercostal muscles within the ribs. Between two ribs, in the middle, there's intercostal muscles. At the lower limit of the thoracic cavity, there is a diaphragm. Okay. So there are two steps in the gas exchange between in external environment and lungs. First is inspiration. Inspiration can be breathe in karane. Let's see what happens. Then make a naturally when we don't do anything. Repair cadeno, there are different things that can be done. We can repair. Wait, I'll come to that. Inspiration I'll come to that. So first of all, when we are breathing in, this is naturally happening. Intentionally breathe karot na apne hitala husma ganna puluwan, but as I said, it doesn't happen intentionally always. First of all, intercostal muscles contract. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ ribs මැද තියෙන intercostal muscles ටික contract වෙනවා. Contract වෙනකොට, now let's say these are two ribs. In the middle we have intercostal muscles. When they're contracting, when the intercostal muscles are contracting, the space between the two ribs becomes smaller, right? So all the ribs will start to move up. The rib cage will move up because මැද intercostal muscles ඔක්කොම contract වෙනවා. So ribs ටික එන්නේ උඩට යනවා. So intercostal muscles contract and the ribs move up. Is that clear? Give me a thumbs up if it's clear. Others? Rashmika? Clear. So, intercostal muscles contract and ribs move up. The sternum, that is the part that is in between the ribs, no? Sternum will move forward. So, ඔයා ගොඩාක් ඒ කියන්නේ හොඳට focus කරොත් breathing වලට නිකම් මෙහෙම thoracic cavity එක උඩට ගිහිල්ලා ඉස්සරහට යනවා වගේ තමයි දැනෙන්නේ. So, ඒක ඇත්තටම නිකන් ඕගොල්ලන්ම distract වෙලා breathe කරද්දී ඒක එච්චර තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ, but you know there are certain breathing meditations, right? In Buddhism we have something called anapanasati, where like you focus on your breathing. So it's not just something in Buddhism. There's also like the yoga vela tiyenawa, and even I don't know, other religions also might have different breathing techniques and meditation about breathing. So if you like, focus only on your breathing, ඒක ටිකක් වෙලා කරනකොට උගන් තේරෙනවා.
Teacher, like we also have in a like religion,
Is
like
there a name
being
for it?
yoga and stuff.
What is it?
Like breathe in, breathe out, like that exercise we also have.
Sorry. Like focusing on the breathing part, no?
Yes, teacher.
Yeah, yes. So see, I can name simple දෙයක් නේ breathing can, it's something that we do every day, all the time, but focusing on it properly is also a meditation in itself, because we don't consciously do it most of the time. It naturally happens, right? Anyways, ribs move up, sternum moves forward. ඒත් එක්කම තව වැඩක් වෙනවා. Diaphragm contracts and reduces curvature. ළමයි diaphragm එක usually ඉන්නේ මෙහෙම. මේ තමයි යාගේ relax position එක. ඔයාට ඕන මේක පැත්තෙන් ඇඳ ගන්න මේ diaphragm එක. This is the diaphragm. Diaphragm එක මෙහෙම curve වෙලා ඉන්නවා කියන්නේ මෙයාගේ relax වෙලා ඉන්න. That's a normal position. But මෙයා මෙහෙම පල්ලෙහාට ගිහිල්ලා curvature එක මෙහෙම අඩු කරගන්නවා කියන්නේ that is when it contracts. Contract වෙන්නේ ඒ වෙලෙට. Right? මෙහෙම ඉන්න diaphragm එක මෙහෙම curvature එක අඩු කරනවා. That is what we call contraction in diaphragm. So diaphragm, the මෙහෙම තියෙන diaphragm එක, what will happen is it will move down, so the curvature will be reduced. So we call it contraction. So diaphragm contracts and reduces curvature. බලන්න ළමයි diaphragm එක පල්ලෙහාට යනකොට ඒක නිකන් හරියට මෙතන මේ balloon membrane එක පල්ලෙහාට ඇද්දා වගේ නේද? ඒක තේරෙනවද ඔයගලන්ට? When the diaphragm මෙහෙම තියෙන curve වෙලා තියෙන diaphragm එක when it's moving down, it's something like අර මෙතන තියෙන balloon membrane එක පල්ලෙහාට ඇද්දා වගේ. එතකොට මොකද වෙන්නේ? So ribs are moving up, sternum moving forward, diaphragm moving down. All of this increases the volume of the thoracic cavity. Thoracic cavity කියන්නේ මේ මුළු system එකමනේ. මේක volume එක වැඩි වෙනවා. Right? So thoracic cavity එකේ volume එක වැඩි වෙනවා කියලා කියන්නේ inside the thoracic cavity you have lungs. Lungs වල volume එක වැඩි වෙනවා. Lungs වල volume එක වැඩි වෙනකොට now there's a lot of space inside නේ. To fill that space, air from the external environment will enter into the lungs. So air enters into the lungs. The same thing happens in this. When you drag the balloon membrane down, that increases the volume inside the bell jar. Bell jar के volume එක වැඩි වෙනවා කියන්නේ මේ balloons වල volume එකත් වැඩි වෙනවා. So volume එක වැඩි වෙනවා කියන්නේ there's a lot of space. To fill that space, air will come from outside. Same thing happens here. So in papers they will ask you write the steps of inspiration. Then you write these steps. Intercostal muscles contract. Ribs move up, sternum moves forward, diaphragm contracts and moves down. එතකොට මොකද වෙන්නේ? Volume of thoracic cavity increases, volume of lungs increases, air enters into the lungs. මේක තමයි breathing in, නැත්නම් inhalation or inspiration කියලා කියන්නේ. Is that clear? Give me a
Yes,
thumbs up.
teacher.
Okay, others?
Teacher, I have a doubt.
Yes.
But it is about that heart system.
Mm-hmm.
I did a MCQ paper recently. In that, they didn't give a proper heart system. They have mentioned a rough sketch using squares, connecting. Will it be the sketch that they will give for O level?
Of course. In all past papers also there's a particular question where the heart is represented in squares and just not like heart එක diagram එකක් විදිහට නිකන් rough diagram එකක් විදිහට දාලා තියෙනවා. But they give you hints and all that so you can identify which part is which and accordingly you can write answers. But if you don't remember the theory part, you will not be able to identify these parts. එතකොට answers ඔක්කොම වරදිනවා. So that kind of questions Olivers will ahanava, and they have asked that in past papers already. Okay.
Okay, teach. So if they ask us to draw the system of heart, can we draw like that, or we should draw the proper heart system?
They will not ask you to draw. Don't worry.
Okay.
So far it has never happened, and I'm pretty sure it will not happen because always remember ඔගලන් හරියට පාඩම් කරගෙන යනවා නම් you will be able to write the answers without a problem because what they're testing is not like things like ඔගලන් maths දන්නවද art දන්නවද එහෙම නෙමෙයි. science වල concept එක ඔයගන්ට තේරලාද කියන එක තමයි මුළු O level paper එක පුරාම ඒගොල්ලන් බලන්නේ. even කටපාඩම් කරන්නේ වුණත් ඒගොල්ලන් අහන්නේ like concept එක base කරගෙන. So therefore they will always base on the concept. So ekahinda so far as I said they have not asked about like drawing and I'm pretty sure they will not in the future as well. Okay. So ඒක වැඩි what වෙනකම් අපි දැන් past paper revision එක කරනවානේ කරනකොට you will I think අපි August මුල past paper revision එක පටන් ගමු. We will have some lessons remaining but it's okay. While we are doing the past paper revision, we'll cover those lessons. Okay, so while we are doing the past paper revision, we'll cover those lessons. Just giving you a heads up. August වලදී අපි past paper revision එක පටන් ගන්නවා. එතකොට everything we have done up to that point, you should be very familiar with. Past paper revision එකේ නම් අනම් මනම් චුරු චුරු ගන්න බෑ, okay? And also in the past paper revision, we will first be starting all the essay questions. essay ටික තමයි මුලින් කරන්නේ. essay questions කරලා තමයි MCQ වලට යන්නේ. ගොඩක් වෙලාවට අපි MCQ පටන් ගන්නකොට ඔගස්ට් සැප්තැම්බර් ඔක්ටෝබර් වල වගේ තමයි අපි මේ MCQs කරන්නේ හරියට. but එතකන් ඔගස්ට් සැප්තැම්බර් ඒ ටික අපි essays තමයි කරන්නේ. O level paper book එක yes. අනිත් එක තව දෙයක් this is very important, I forgot to mention. මම maths class එක නම් කිව්වා from next week එකේ class නැහැ ඔයගලන්ට, it's a holiday. But from 13th onwards දිගටම until December your class time changes from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. 9:30 නෙමෙයි 10. Right, so it's going to be 3 hours because I think you may think half an hour is not a big deal, but half an hour ගොඩක් එකතු වෙනකොට පැය ගාණක් අපිට add වෙනවා, right? Because the journey from this point forward is going to be I wouldn't say tough, but you need to work hard and smart, right? එතකොට අපි syllabus ටික ඉවර කරන්න ඕනේ, past papers ටික කරන්න ඕනේ. We have to do all past paper questions very well and you have to get an A somehow, right? So ekehinda we are going to just add half an hour to the class and finish at 10. So I want you to fully support in that like in that aspect. මොකද ඒක ඔයගලන් වෙනුවෙන්මනේ අපි කරන්නේ නේ. ඔයගලන්ටම සිලබස් එක ඉක්මනට ඉවර කරලා පාස් පේපර්ස් වැඩිපුර කරන්න අපිට කාලේ ඕන හින්දා තමයි ඒක එහෙම කරන්නේ. So some of you maybe are used to sleeping a little early. මම දන්නවා ගොඩක් කට්ටිය රා වෙනකන් ඉන්නවා සමනේ. 10 මාර 11 වගේ නුවන් නිදාගන්න ටයිම් එක ගොඩක් අයගේ. But ඔයගලන් by any chance 9 මාරට වගේ නිදාගන්න කවුරු ඉන්නවා නම් just stay awake for half an hour extra. You could like maybe ask your parents to maybe make a coffee or something, but just stay until 10, right? ඒක නිදි මතේ නැතුව අපි ඒ වැඩේ හරියට කරමු. And ඒකෙන් ලොකු වෙනසක් වෙනවා, right? Even half an hour one day, but එහෙම දවස් 4ක් කරොත් එහෙම that means we are doing 2 hours extra, right? That's a lot. එහෙම අපි මාස දෙකක් කරොත් we are doing how many hours? 4 hours extra. That's a lot. ඒකයි මම කියන්නේ don't ever underestimate even a minute. Hard. Then expiration. Then expiration means breathing out. Now intercostal muscles will relax. So earlier intercostal muscles contracted. Now ribs moved forward. Now intercostal muscles are relaxing. හිටපු විදියට වෙනවා. හිටපු විදියට වෙනවා කියන්නේ ribs උත් ආය පල්ලෙහාට යනවා. And then sternum එක ඉස්සරහට ආවන කලින් in inspiration. Now the sternum will move back in expiration, right? So that's why we say sternum and ribs move to original position. Then diaphragm also relaxes. මම කියන්නේ diaphragm එකේ relax position එක කියන්නේ curve වෙලා ඉන්න එකනේ. So එයා ආයමත් curve වෙනවා. So intercostal muscles relax, sternum and ribs move to original position, diaphragm relax and becomes curved. එතකොට ඔය ඔක්කොම හින්දා volume of the thoracic cavity decreases. When the volume of the thoracic cavity decreases, volume of the lungs also decreases. When the volume of lungs decreases, the lungs වල space එක නැති වෙනවනේ. එතකොට lungs ඇතුලේ තියෙන air ටික එළියට යනවා. So gas inside the lungs moves out. That is what happens in expiration. Is this clear to all of you, lamai?
Yes, teacher.
Others? All right. Okay. What questions මොකද මට මිස් වුණාද? So the question that Tinura asked earlier, ribs කැඩෙන එකනේ. So what happens when ribs break? So samani ribs කැඩෙන එක it's quite common, especially I don't know if you have heard ගොඩක් ඔය එක sports කරනකොට එම now do you all watch any sports? I don't watch sports, but I watch wrestling.
It has happened to Yeah, enough to.
Yes. So ගොඩක් ස්පෝර්ට්ස් වල එක වෙනවා දැන්. wrestling can be, I mean boxing වගේ බලනවා නම් ඔයගොල්ලෝ fighting වල එහෙමත් ගොඩක් වෙනවා. Wrestling is not exactly a sports sport. It's more like sports entertainment, but still, yeah, ribs breaking is quite common, especially in sports. But sports නැතත් certain, like even certain accidents could cause like breaking of a rib. එතකොට ගොඩක් වෙලාවට කරන්නේ ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් rib එකක් හැදෙනවා කියලා කියන්නේ එතන පොඩි fracture එකක් යනවා, පොඩි crack එකක් වගේ හරි. crack එකක් වගේ වුණොත් නම් පොඩක් shape, but sometimes the rib could entirely break. So එහෙම වුණාම ගොඩක් වෙලාවට I think what they do is they they could අර මොනවාද අපි කියන්නේ ඒකට මේ they do a repair, but you know if it's like a පොඩි fracture එකක් වගේ නම් it's quite easy to do the repair, right? ඒතර ගොඩක් වෙලාවට they can like you know මොනවාද අපි කියන්නේ they connect it. I connect it like different they do different surgeries and all. So that is what happens usually when a rib is broken, but සාමාන්‍යයෙන් rib එකක් break වෙන එක it's quite common, right? So yeah,
Teacher, like
yes.
they keep screw in our hands or legs if it is broken, right? So do they keep a screw in our rib?
Screw එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ
Like a metal plate or something, they'll keep
yes, yes, yes,
fixed,
yes,
right?
yes. සාමාන්‍ය මේමයි rib එකක් පොඩි fracture එකක් නම් ඒක naturally heal වෙනවා. So එතකොට ගොඩක් වෙලාවට what they do is so they just let the person rest and of course like you know nutrients and all that දෙනවා. මොකද ගොඩක් වෙලාවට naturally heal වෙනවා. but සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඊට වඩා නිකන් ලොකු කියන්නේ ලොකු නැත්තම් completely break වෙලා නම් there's something called chest tube. chest එකට tube එකක් වගේ එකක්. So what they do is they just put it again. How do you say it? කියන්නේ කැඩිච්ච තැනට ඒක install කරනවා. Right? So install කරාම මේ that helps in repairing of the rib. So ගොඩක් වෙලාවට දැන් මේ ribs කැඩෙන එකේ main problem එක තමයි it can puncture the lung. ඒ කියන්නේ කැඩිච්ච part එක නැත්නම් ඒ sharp edges could poke the lungs. So that's one of the biggest issues in a broken rib. So ඒ වගේ වෙලාවට ඉතින් I think what they do is like they like do a surgery to like expand and contract the lung or something like that. I'm not very familiar with that.
Like
ඒකෙන් මට ලොකුට
teacher,
කියන්න බෑ.
they like to take the blood out that is compressed, they like make a hole near our chest and take the blood that is compressed.
Yeah, yeah. The blood that is compressed, yes, but then ඊට පස්සේ lung එක repair කරන එකට. So ඒකට තමයි ඒගොල්ලෝ chest tube එක දාන්නේ as far as I know. But anyways, yes. So broken ribs are quite common.
If it is
ඒකට
majorly damaged, like they do an operation. If it is like a small part is damaged, like they make the lung to like get it naturally repaired.
yeah, yes. So yes, and ගොඩක් damage වෙලා තිබ්බොත් තමයි metal plate එක දාන්නේ. So අර metal plate එක just you know sort of like හිතන්න මෙතන කැඩලා නම් එතන උඩින් metal plate එක දානවා. Right? So that the rib could naturally heal or sometimes it may not even heal. Right? So that's how it happens. But ගොඩක් වෙලාවට ඔය commonly වෙන්නේ පොඩි පොඩි fractures. So they will naturally heal, but of course the person has to take a big break. Okay. Then gas exchange in alveoli. Up to that point, is it clear? Step number 1. I'm sorry, Lamai, can you all hear me?
Yes, please.
So let me share the whiteboard real fast. So there's another question that I have missed. That made me a question again. I just saw it. Doesn't all these steps happen due to air entering lungs? Like doesn't intercostal contract because we breathe out through the actually not. So met me him not him nang if all the them now according to the textbook, according to the theory, meva the intercostal muscles contract, ribs move up, sternum moves forward. So according to the textbook, because all of this happens, only air enters the lung. But what you're saying is because air enters the lung, these happen. That's what you're saying, right? So what the textbook is saying is that these happen because these happen, air enters the lung. But what you are suggesting is, isn't it because air entered in the lungs, all of these changes happening? So we will always have to consciously breathe. If we consciously breathe, because we breathe, these will happen. අපි breathe in, breathe කරනකොට lungs වල volume එක වැඩි වෙලා, thoracic cavity के volume එක වැඩි වෙලා, diaphragm contract වෙලා, ribs move up and blah blah blah, all of that will happen. That is if we consciously breathe. But we don't always consciously breathe, no? Since we don't always consciously breathe, make it naturally when do a mechanism එකක් body එකේ තියෙනවා. Therefore, these happen first. Because these happen, air enters the lung naturally. Because we are not doing anything. Respiration happens, no? Is that clear with me?
Yes, teach. Thank you.
Okay. So, all right. So, okay. So, next step, gas exchange in alveoli. So, inhaled air moves through the nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles. The methinara bronchiole. Monkey bronchiole agar chuti balloons තියෙනවා කියලා. So these are alveoli. Alveoli. So these are little balloons. Right. So balloons wage structures, little, they are called alveoli. So actually there are millions of alveoli in lungs, right? There's a lot. So මොකක්ද alveoli වල වෙන්නේ? So one of these little alveoli is zoomed in here. So we can see this is the alveoli. මේ තියෙන alveoli එක. Right? මේ alveoli එකේ එළියේ there are blood capillaries. Alveoli is this little part. Let me outline it. මේ තියෙන alveoli. මේ තියෙන blood vessel එක. So මේ තියෙන blood vessel එක. So around the alveoli, there are so many blood vessels. Now you can see if I zoom this in. Now I told you these little balloon-like structures are alveoli. Can you see like all these blood vessels that are surrounding the alveoli? ඉතින් මෙහෙම නිකන් network එකක් වගේ. මෙහෙම network එකක් වගේ තියෙන්නේ. So these are all the blood vessels in the alveoli. Right? So that means alveoli is surrounded by so many blood vessels, right? So we will see what happens here. Gas exchange means there is like an exchange of gases in the alveoli. ඉතින් gases එහාට මෙහාට මාරු වෙනවා අනිවාර්යෙන් alveoli එකේ. Yes, doesn't the total alveoli is the size of a tennis court? Yes, that's quite a famous fact. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් දැන් මේ alveoli there's a lot, no? So අපි කියනවා සාමාන්‍යයෙන් lungs වල තියෙනවා around like depending on the person and the age and all that සාමාන්‍යයෙන් නිකන් like 500 million වගේ, that means like half a billion වගේ තියෙනවා. 300 to 500 billion වගේ තියෙනවා sorry billion million 300 to 500 million alveoli වගේ තියෙනවා අපේ lungs වල. So එතකොට like they are very very small, they're super tiny. But හිතන්න imagine if you take each alveoli and you spread it කපලා හරි මොකද කරලා spread කරලා මෙහෙම දිගාලා තිබ්බොත් එහෙම it will be able to cover an entire tennis court, right? So ඒ කියන්නේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් I would say like 70, 80, 75 square meters වගේ. Somebody them square meters ගන්න දාලා තිබ්බනේ. Anyways, yeah. So around something around like 80, yeah, 50 to 80 වගේ range එකේ තමයි එන්නේ. If you take the total surface area. As I said, it depends on the person. If you take a baby, it's quite small. If you take an adult, it's the surface area is higher, right? So සාමාන්‍ය නිකන් tennis court එකක්ම කියන්න බෑ, but maybe like half of a tennis court වගේ. Okay, so සාමාන්‍ය when we say like the total surface area of an සාමාන්‍ය tennis court 200 square meters වගේනේ. කියන්නේ I remember one of my friends played tennis, one of my very close friends. So මට හරියට මතක නැහැ කොච්චරද කියලා. But සාමාන්‍ය අපි කොහම alveoli total surface area covers an entire tennis court කියලා. It's a little exaggerated because like that's too much. But maybe like half of a tennis court වගේ, because that area is pretty high. If you consider 70, 80 වගේ square meters, that's a very high surface area. සාමාන්‍ය නිකන් half වගේ, half or 1/3 of a tennis court වගේ. Or නිකන් okay. Anyways, yes, so what happens here is that now, as I said, lungs have like 300 to 500 million alveoli. So alveoli are surrounded by blood capillaries, right? So what happens here is that now alveoli ඇතුලේ තියෙන lungs වලට ආපු air. So this is the air that is coming into the body. This is the air that is coming into the body, right? So this air in the atmosphere, is there more oxygen or carbon dioxide? Is there more oxygen or carbon dioxide?
Carbon dioxide.
Okay. Others? Give me a second.
Teacher, in air, right?
Yeah, in the atmosphere, yes. Yes, what do you think? Oxygen or carbon dioxide? In the atmosphere, what is higher? Thinner also says carbon dioxide. Okay, carbon dioxide. It's actually oxygen, na? සාමාන්‍ය atmosphere के වැඩිපුරම තියෙන nitrogen, right?
But
Nitrogen.
teacher, I heard someone saying, like in our school, they told that carbon dioxide is more and plants breathe and release oxygen.
No, I mean, of course, plants do release oxygen in photosynthesis, and they take carbon dioxide and they release oxygen. Yes, all of that is true. And respiration, we take oxygen and release carbon dioxide, but nitrogen is the highest. This is about 78% again. Oxygen is the second highest. There's a lot of oxygen, around 21% විතර. මේකට comparatively carbon dioxide තියෙන I think around 0.3%. That is quite low, right? Quite low. 0.3% is argon, I think. 0.03%. 0.0. Carbon dioxide 0.04 or like 0.05%. Okay, carbon dioxide. So you can imagine how low the carbon dioxide percentage is compared to oxygen. Do you understand, Lamai? So a lot of you may have thought carbon dioxide, maybe because we are all releasing carbon dioxide in respiration, but still in the atmosphere, oxygen is generally much, much higher. Okay. So, එතකොට අපි breathe කරන airවල oxygen concentration එක ගොඩක් වැඩි. Okay. ළමයි, since we are running, because this part takes a little more time to explain, we have to talk about how this diffusion happens. So we will continue this next week. I think next week the plan is to finish respiration and excretion both. Because these both respiration and excretion are quite small parts, right? Let's try to finish both. So I think I told you all the important announcements for today, like how next week is a holiday. 13th ඉඳන් 7 to 10 තමයි class එක තියෙන්නේ. You have a homework with a deadline, submission deadline එකක් තියෙනවා. Definitely send this before the deadline, or I will deduct marks, huh? And someone other. 13 වෙනිදාට ඔයගන්ට quiz එකක් තියෙනවා. 13th June. In the next class, you're going to have a quiz on mixtures, right? Quiz. So, yeah, these are all my important announcements. Do you all have anything else? Any questions before we end the class? No, not on this lesson. මේ lesson එක අපි තාම ඉවර කළා නෑනේ. Quiz will be on mixtures, third lesson. So make sure you just one lesson now. So study that lesson and come. You will most probably get between 15 to 20 questions. Okay. All right. Give me a thumbs up if everything is clear, Lama. Rashmika, Risindi, Savinu. Risindi, Savinu, all good? All right. So let's see each other next week. Until then, have a great week and good night. And make sure you study and come for the quiz, do the homework and all that. And yes, thank you, Risindi. Same to you. Good night, Lama.
Thank you, teacher. God bless you. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Same to you.